In this episode of the Bayta Podcast, we have a student review startup. Acomorate. It's a housing review startup created by a group of university students who are unhappy with the current system of finding a house for university. Acomorate's goal is to make the experience of finding a house at university easier by creating one centralised platform where tenants and landlords can share information with prospective students about their houses. The platform has been built from scratch using Django, which is a Python web framework. The site has just under 100 reviewed properties in its database based in Leamington, with star ratings, pros and cons, photos, and a whole host of other features. The platform is Acomorate's MVP, minimum viable product, focusing on students at Warwick but looking to spread their vision nationwide. The tech startup has already secured funding in excess of £1,000 from the university and is looking to use this money to scale their user base. Let's dive into the podcast and hear how a bunch of friends have come together to turn an idea into reality. Okay, welcome back to the Bayta Podcast, and in this episode I'm interviewing a few of the guys that are part of a new student review website startup called Acomorate. So we're going to go through in order, talk about maybe sort of what your position is and maybe your degree that you're studying.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Cool. So I'm Luke. I'm a third year at Warwick doing computer science, and I'm the sort of tech guy. Me with like the guy who founded it, who's unfortunately not here, Nikos. We sort of do the tech side. We do a bit of sales as well and talking to people. But I'd say we mostly work in sort of web development. We got it up, that sort of thing.
I'm Juan, I'm also a third year, I'm a politics student, and I focus more on all that's not tech, so doing our marketing strategy, securing grants, how to grow the business and how to go beyond what we are right now.
And I'm Chad. I study philosophy. I've done a lot of business experience, but I basically do the same thing as Juan. We do all the odds and ends jobs that are basically getting the company up and running and exposed and growing our database, which is a lot of fun.
So yeah, like in the edit, I'll put in a screen recording of Acomorate as well, so they can sort of have a look at the website, and I'll leave a link in the below so everyone can check it out. But do one of you kind of want to explain what Acomorate is and maybe how initially started? Like when did you go? We need this kind of service.
I'll do that then. So it started early second year, so just over a year-ish now, and we kind of went into a house, 7 of us, and we had an average experience, I'd say. There was a lot of things that we didn't know about when we first went into the house and things we were kind of unhappy with, talked to the landlord, they didn't really respond. It was kind of our first sort of living experience, and it was going okay, but it could have gone a lot better. And Nikos is the one that sort of came up with the idea of sort of accountability towards landlords and a sort of communication process, kind of like he was looking mostly at like Glassdoor and TripAdvisor and how they sort of innovated those sort of marketplaces where there wasn't a lot of communication, but now there is. And he thought it'd be a good idea for that to be brought to the student market, because a lot of student accommodation right now is, the way you do it is very archaic. You go and you get a listing, you go and walk to the houses, you go and talk to people, ask a few questions, and then you have to just call them up and hope that's not been sold out, but it usually is. So
it's kind of an awkward process when you're going up to a house as well, full of students that they don't even know that you're coming, and you have to walk in and I don't know, you don't get like a true review of it.
Exactly, the landlord's not there to tell you about the house. You sort of just turn up and be like, hey, we're first years, do you mind if we come and look at your house? And they're like, yeah, sure, and then you just see it's an absolute mess, no one's prepared anything. And
And then we thought the problem was even beyond that, and even if you go to the house, you don't know what to ask, you don't know what's important, what's not important. And when you're committing so much money, you find yourself that you're only going to really know what you're moving into 2 months when you're living there.
Yeah, that's so true. It's like you spend 2 hours reviewing a laptop that or something small, say you're going to buy something off Amazon, you're going to buy a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
You the amount of time that people spend just going through pages trying to find the best thing, and there's so much more information than for somewhere where you're going to live for a year.
Yeah.
It's such an important decision, and you just can't get that much more information about it.
Yeah. But the biggest thing is that for Warwick University, you find your accommodation very early on. So everyone in first year, you literally live with someone for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you kind of have to start talking about it, because all the houses go by about week 7, and that's a really big committal decision. So if you want to get through as much information as possible, this is just a really useful tool for streamlining that process. That's what the aim was, really.
Because I've got friends in London, and they say, for UCL, LSE, that sort of places, they're getting their houses in June, so 2 months before, pretty much. Whereas it's so early and there's so much pressure. So I think you're right in that you need to consume a lot of information quickly. And I think this is probably a problem with just the housing process here as well, is that you don't know who you're living with yet. Like
exactly.
when you've just got to university and you're 2 or 3 weeks in, and you don't really know the people, and you only discover that when you live with them next year. Like
Yeah, like I think Warwick is the earliest university I've heard of that people like have to buy a house for, just because they get sold out so quickly. Like listings come up so quickly, and I think maybe I'll mention like what the website actually is. I suppose go through that, just because the whole idea is we get second and third years mostly. Later years obviously could do it. Basically anyone who's lived in accommodation somewhere off campus, and
it's their opinion, it's their experience, like what the pros are, what the cons are, advice to like first years moving in, that sort of thing, or second years moving in, because to be honest, even in second year you don't really know what you're doing. But it's a place where information about all the houses that you can go and see are in one centralised location, so you don't have to travel 45 minutes to go to Lem to find something. You go on our website, look for 5 minutes, and you might find a house you like. I'm not saying that's the be all and end all. I recommend going and see the place still.
Yeah.
But we want us to be like a tool that's like helpful and like somewhere where you can cut down the list and know what you're doing rather than going in blind.
And hear from students' experiences, not just from that year, but forward-looking, multiple years worth of experiences in a particular house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're hoping this is a thing like over years, like people just tell us so much information. Like so many people have a story about their house. Like a lot, like something goes wrong for most people. Like we've spoken some horror stories, haven't we? Like people's houses, like someone's house burnt down, like people's roofs collapsed. That happened to multiple people. Yeah, like stuff like that, and like you don't really hear about it. Yeah, sorry.
To be fair, like even with those problems, like if you check the Acomorate, like it's not going to stop your house from burning down.
Of course,
the point is like how you respond to the situation. So like, if the landlord was useful, you know, like. If you're the useless landlord and your flat burns down, then like you are,
then it's a double whammy. Like,
you're screwed. So like the whole point is like in the wake of like something happening, like your wardrobe breaking, or like you know, and like emit like mold in the walls, you know, whatever. Like you want to know how it's going to change, and like people don't think about reviews as being something that's like hugely practical, but like the best way to like incentivize people is that, for example, like did you get your deposit back last year? You know, like that's.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like, I mean, I know people now as well, and I'm sure you do. Like, they're still arguing with the lettings agents.
Exactly.
Oh, you were as well.
Yeah, no, up until about Monday of this week.
You were a good tenant.
That's the good thing about Acomorate though. At the same time, like if there's a landlord who is giving the deposit back, like in time, like ours didn't really give us any trouble. It was like, there you go.
You took 20 quid off like a carpet. Or something.
Exactly. Which is not too bad. So it's whilst you do highlight like the landlords who are being a bit annoying, a bit frustrating. At the same time, you also highlight the landlords who like reply immediately, fix everything for you. Yeah, like the great landlords out there. And
we want good landlords to be known about because like they should be heard about.
Yeah, just giving a platform for the people that are good, the landlords that are good, and then also like just showcasing the ones that aren't so good.
Yeah, right? Literally.
Just as a like a heads up. So sometimes a property sounds too good to be true. Yeah, I guess.
But it's a way of keeping them honest as well, because like year to year you don't like no one like the landlord's like this faceless community. It's like my landlord, you know. But like now you'd actually know like who's honestly like you know gonna reply to your texts and. You know, if someone knows that Acomorate is out there and they're a landlord who isn't as responsive, hopefully then they'll be somewhat inspired to like, you know, treat their students better. You know, because right now there's no fact checking tool from like year to year. Like my landlord last year, like I can't remember his like full name. I know he's called like Pandy, but I don't know. I couldn't find him. I have his mobile number. That's about it. And so like if he's then like he was really good to us. You know, but if he was bad and he was screwing over other people, like there'd be no way of them knowing without a tool like this. You know?
Yeah, the whole idea as well is like for landlords, it should be a tool where people give you feedback and you can sort of develop on what issues you're having and try to make it as good of an experience for students as well. It's supposed to like a mutually beneficial thing.
What we've also found is like a lot of landlords find themselves like kind of like forced to go and like do business with like Tower & Co because like they have the website and like they have the database and like people when they go and find a house like they're gonna search and most properties are owned by them. So for a landlord, it's like, I kind of need to be with them because if not, students aren't going to know my house is a student house. So our website also works in that those good independent landlords that don't have to like necessarily be a managed property by Tower & Co. Like make sure like students know about them as well.
Awesome. So let's rewind a little bit. So when did you first start developing and sort of the process of like creating a platform? Like let's take it back to like where were you in your room first year or what's going on?
So we were in a living room, pretty like identical to this, I'd say.
Yeah.
And we were discussing it. And to be honest, not many of us had experience, but none of us had any experience doing this sort of thing. Nikos, he's been a web developer. He's a great web developer, and he's done that for years just as a hobby. And sort of, we started there pretty much.
Yeah.
We looked around. Fortunately, I did like an internship where someone showed me some sort of services that sort of help you off the ground, sort of free website hosting, that sort of thing. We basically incorporated that, and I'd say from November of last year to like this summer was like the whole development phase. Like the amount of things that we had to learn and the amount of things I probably do in 5 minutes now that took me like 4 weeks. When I first did it. It was a lot of long hours of just sitting there programming, talking to one another. We met in Costa in London the amount of times. Just sort of hashing it out, getting everything done. We talked amongst ourselves, got the development ready, and sort of tried to make a good, clean product. And like, it was just a lot of that. It was a lot of like, it was weird because it's gone from just a thought we had in our head to what it is now, which is a tangible business that we've actually sort of trying to expand to people. And it's insane to think, like, me a year ago would never imagine it. Like, imagine that we could go through this creative process, but you haven't. You learn a lot. Like, I'd say, like, easily doing this is probably the fastest way to learn something. I've learned so many skills. And I'd say for most of us, like, as well as it being a business that we're proud of and we want to expand on, this has been a massive learning process for us, and that's something that I'd say we're most proud of.
Yeah, like this could have literally been like just one more idea that you have, like, a sick business idea.
How many students come up with like,
exactly,
let's do this.
Of course it should exist. But then like it's like whatever. And then but suddenly like a year later, you know, like work entrepreneurs, like, you know, they come in, like we're doing with work incubator, we got £1,000 from the university, like it's actually like becoming something, and it's crazy to
real.
think when it was nothing more than an idea in the living room and we're just all chilling, like.
How's the university helped you out? Have they been quite supportive of what you guys are trying to do, or
it's been
depends on the part of the university.
So
like the entrepreneur, like we got the grant. What is
it? It was the Warwick Innovation Entrepreneurship Program. They run it every year, so
they were really good.
They're really good, and we're hoping to apply for it again.
At the same time, Warwick accommodation is like shite. Like they don't reply, like they don't want our help.
Same with the SU as well.
It's unfortunate because I think there are some parts of the university that are really keen for student-led, student-driven sort of businesses and stuff. Like they want to help people create stuff and make their own way. But I'd say in some regards, something like Warwick Accommodation, for example, they are, I suppose I'm trying to look for a word. They're not very. They're very hesitant to sort of move on to take, not like risk taking, but sort of give us a chance on something that they don't really know to be attested and working out.
We don't blame them though.
No,
like, we don't. Now, our database isn't big enough that we have anything to offer. So like, it would be them going out of their way to like help us. And if they did that for every small student startup, I'm sure they'd run with a load of like pop-up ads or whatever. Like,
and I think when we tried to approach them the first time, it was sort of end of third term last year. And we didn't. The website was up, but it didn't have many reviews, and we didn't really know what we were doing. We were talking to them, saying how we want to work with them, but I suppose we didn't really have like sort of business acumen to be like, this is exactly what we want to do. This is when we're not going to be something that you're going to have to work hard for us. We're going to put in pretty much 90% of the work, and we just want to make it a good, useful tool for you. And I think we want to hope and we want to communicate with them again, and we want to talk to them and be like, I think now that we've kind of like tested ourselves and sort of got that sort of mentality better, I think we can go to them and maybe get a more positive response. But this is still in the works, and this is just what we're hoping to do in the next few weeks, I'd say.
It's very true. Like we've been very self-aware at the same time. Like we know what we're as a university. Obviously, we've been speaking with certain people like within the university, and they're one of the biggest fears is that it just becomes like a landlord bashing website where it's just like the students to bash their landlords. And we put so many systems in place to like make sure we avoid that. And so we are working really hard to make it like a fair, balanced place. So because our biggest aspiration is to make it a useful website for both students and landlords. It's a simple thing to say, but like it's all we want. We just want it. So it'll come a day where you're gonna like search for a house and your mum is like, oh, have you checked Acomorate? You know, just to make sure it's alright. And that's literally all we aspire to become a tool that's useful to the community. In this case, it's our community, which is like Warwick, Leamington, Coventry. But like if in the future it can go a bit bigger and like.
Absolutely, it's difficult trying to please all ends of the party though, as you just said. Like a landlord's going to be happy about their house when they think they've tried their best. That maybe the landlords that think that they're doing well, but their tenants perhaps weren't the best and complained a lot. It's getting the balance of both, right? Because okay, a lot of the time students do have reason to complain, but sometimes they really don't.
Like some students can be as unreasonable as landlords sometimes.
Yeah.
And we're very aware of that. And we're trying to make it a place where landlords can feel comfortable to put their properties on.
Yeah.
And that's how we're doing that, through like letting a landlord claim a property, respond to feedback, sort of discuss the sort of thing, let us know if you think if something so extreme was happening where someone was being really rude, or maybe someone actively trying to put your business down. You can talk to us, we can negotiate with you, see how things are going with that. And if there is a situation where they do have, like, students do have valid concerns, we want it to be not a place where a landlord goes, oh, I'd rather it just wasn't there. I'd rather people didn't see that I'm making these mistakes.
Yeah.
We want it to be a situation like, okay, maybe they respond a month later like, hey, I've actually made these changes and I've now improved it.
Yeah.
And then maybe the user can be like, oh yeah, they have. They can verify that. We'll be like, yeah, he's actually really improved.
I suppose it's kind of like on, if you've ever used TripAdvisor, when someone complains at a restaurant, and then the manager goes, oh, I'm sorry, like, come in, here's some vouchers or something. But the equivalent of that, giving the feedback, so it's not meant to be demonising.
Exactly. And the whole that's a really good analogy, because I've worked at restaurants, like, as a waiter and stuff, and they want they want TripAdvisor like reviews. They want people to say, they want people to go online, they want people to say stuff. Like, and that's what we want it to be for us with landlords. We want landlords to be like, oh, hey guys, do you mind like dropping a review for me, because it would mean a lot. Like that sort of thing, like where we can be helpful in like getting them out and like making people know that they do good stuff.
So with the platform, do you see the higher the reviews, is that going to be more incentivized to be put at the top of the platform, or is it geographic based, like if you're looking in a specific area of a town, like?
So right now, how it works is we've got like a front page, and at the bottom that is the most recent searches. As our database sort of grows, we're going to change that really quickly to be sort of based on the location that you are. We're sort of just getting your location, seeing like these are some of the best reviews in the area, that sort of thing. You can also search by city, that sort of thing. So we're going to make it. We're not going to make it a thing where it's just like, here are some of the best reviews all the time, just like that in your face. But I think at the bottom, if you're actually looking for it, if you're looking for like a top 20 list, it'll be there. Yeah. It'll be something you can find, and I think there'll be a lot of good houses even off the top 20. I think like those will probably be gone quickly if our platform ever gets traction, because people are going to try to go to those first, is my guess.
So I suppose a particular topic to pick up on there, I'm just going to stop the camera actually.
Yeah, sure.
And then so I suppose we'll pick off from there then, is when we're talking about picking up traction on the platform. So I suppose this is particularly for you guys as well, leading the sort of business development. How do you see yourself scaling this and getting more users and more reviews? Because you're about 80, was it? 80 listings?
It's about 90 reviews right now.
About 90 reviews at the moment, and if, you know, simple extrapolation, there's probably thousands in Leamington potentially.
Yeah, it's an excellent question.
Well, like the biggest thing is that it's kind of a snowball effect. So the more people review, the more useful it will be to actually like go on the website for first years and do it. So like we've kind of got to push we just got to push like exposure, to be honest. So we've been doing like Facebook advertising, and we've looked into Google advertising as well. The results weren't that great, but then we were leafleting as well on campus. So just handing out leaflets, you know, with like a free donut or whatever, just promoting our giveaway, which was the Amazon vouchers. So there was like 20 £10 Amazon vouchers we're giving away, and we were just telling people what the chances were to win them, that kind of thing. And at one point it was very high, so it was like a 95% chance you win an Amazon voucher. So like people were quite interested at that point.
People did want to do that,
you know.
So what's the general response been from students that you've been talking to when you've been on campus leafleting? Like,
it's amazing. Yeah,
mixed.
Would you actually say mixed?
Yeah,
I think I've found that, particularly first years, actually. Yeah. They're the biggest supporters. Like, I was, like, when we were handing out leaflets, we were trying to get second and third years coming. Yeah. And, like, they were really responding. And I found some really positive feedback from them. But I'd say the biggest people were actually first years who came up to us. And they're like, hey, you're talking about houses, right? Because they're scared. Like, I've talked to them and they were like, we do not know what we're doing. So they literally came up to us like, oh, yeah, we'll definitely check out your website. Can I get a leaflet to give to some friends? They were like, yeah, we'll check this in, like, November time. And like they were really positive about it, because like no one's lived in a house before. Like if you're a first year, like 99.9% of people just have, like, they've lived with your parents or lived with someone else, but you've never had to pay for a house. Yeah, you never had to make the decision. So they've been really positive about that.
The only reason why I'd say mixed is because like some people just aren't the type of people who are interested in like using an extra tool in the process of like finding a house.
Yeah, they just want pick a house. Yeah, done.
They're like,
but that's not what the platform's for, right?
No, exactly. You know, like I mean, students are like a very mixed body. So when you're leafleting and like putting yourself out there, you're always going to get people who aren't interested. Yeah. But like, so obviously like there's going to be a lot of people in first year who's like, I don't care, I'm with my mates, I don't care where I live. But the whole point of this is like, if we just make it really easy for even those people,
just to quickly check it out, like
exactly.
We're trying to make it as easy as we possibly can. Like both mine and Nick, as we mentioned again, our dissertations are 100% focused on making the process easier for people to find houses and for people to write reviews. So we're kind of making a sort of AI where it sort of fills out the review for you, and then you can basically do a checkbox saying like, oh yeah, I want that comment, I don't want this comment, and that sort of thing. Trying to just turn it from what is right now, I'd say about a 5-6 minute review to maybe like a 2-minute review. Yeah. And we're just like, we know we're students. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a lazy guy, and I know that people don't really want to do something. They have to go to a website, make an account, spend it's a long process. But if we just say to them like, you can just enter like hardly anything, and we basically fill it out for you. You can tell us if this is right, this is wrong. Yeah. And it learns from them and tries to make the best reviews we possibly can. And that's basically our plan, just to make it as easy as possible for you to leave reviews. Because other than sort of goodwill at this point, and the incentivizations that we run, like doing our giveaway, which ends on the 24th, other than that, like, students don't really have that much of an incentive to leave a review, other than just the goodwill of helping out others.
Yeah, of course.
And that's, like, for students, that's just, nothing.
So,
well, that's why we want to make it as easy as possible and as, like, quick as possible.
Awesome. So where do you guys, I suppose very quickly we'll sort of summarise, ideally where do you guys see this going, and sort of how do you begin to monetize this? So,
where we see this going, first of all, is I want this to be a sort of intrinsic part of like finding a house at Warwick. So, I'd like, while it's UK based and while it can spread all over, and I'm hoping that it does. The first thing that we want to do is make it a thing here. Yeah. Because like, we know the experience here best. We know what students, we know people the best. We talk to so many people about it, and if we can get like the University involved, maybe a partnership, that sort of thing. Maybe like just get them as helpful as we can, and just let people be aware and be like, hey, this is a cool tool made by Warwick students for Warwick students. Yeah. Then that's what I imagine us being. I imagine us being a thing where like Warwick students are like, hey, you got 7 weeks to find a house, but here's a cool website that some people have made that you can use. Yeah.
At the same time, we're very aware that our store is just not like only in Warwick that you get bad landlords. We're pretty sure like all over the country, like students have the exact same stories. So we think it's a website that is very easily scalable and that can be like valid to like all of the cities like Leeds and Manchester.
Yeah. So I'd say like only 60% of our reviews are in Leamington. I'd say we've got people from other cities. Like most people who've been emailed have been like, hey, do you mind, like our friends just like, hey, can you drop a review? We're hoping to get that more, and we're hoping to get places like Nottingham, Manchester, Leeds, just anywhere with the uni.
I think the like key point is that like, it has a very high ceiling, and right now we just got to judge what we're doing based on like how big our database gets. So we don't know whether or not we can start looking at anywhere else until we know that it's popular in Leamington. And after we've done that, then like, while we do have reviews elsewhere, it's not only possible, like feasible for us to expand until
so it's your proof of concept now. Testing, complete iteration along the process, and then hopefully you can scale it out to other places.
Exactly. We'll talk. That's why we're talking like we'll talk about monetization as well, because we want to focus on making this a useful tool for landlords and letting agencies, as we said. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to approach landlords and letting agencies to be like, hey, we've got this website. It's got this functionality that your website doesn't really have, because most people don't have reviews, they don't have comments, that sort of thing. Yeah. It kind of just has maybe 2 pictures of a house. Tells you like it has 6 beds, 2 toilets, and then just leads you to it. If we get ourselves on that website, make it a part of their website, we can have it so our reviews go to them. If someone writes a review on their website, it comes to us. So it sort of just expands that information. And we talk to them, be like, hey, from looking at all your houses, students want this, this, and this. Say, like, you have an issue with one of your bedrooms where maybe like there's mold or something. A lot of students complain about mold. It's something that's a massive issue. Like we've even had it here. And it's just like we can look at our data, because hopefully as this grows over the next few months, we'll have a lot of data, and we can basically say, in general, students from Warwick want this. This is a necessity almost. It's
a data-driven business. I think that's the key thing, right? So if the common thing is mold, and you can see this landlord fixed a mold, and then next year his rental income rose by this much.
Exactly.
Offering those kind of solutions.
Yeah, at the same time we found like all their websites are really outdated, and they're not centralised in that you have like both student accommodation and non-student accommodation. So by them coming into us and us going into them, like you finally have a website where it's pretty modern, pretty easy to use, because their websites are like pretty archaic. So you finally have a website where it's all centralised, you know what it's there for, it's like students, you know what type of houses you get and where they are, and then what's important for students.
Yeah, and like going on to back to landlords, like they can the idea is like they can improve their house. It's a better situation for students and it's a better situation for landlords, because people will come to them if they if their houses are good. They can maybe even charge more if they make improvements, that sort of thing. But then students are going to be happy because they get a better house at the end of the day. So the whole idea is it's a mutually beneficial situation.
Awesome. Right, so to summarise, I'm going to go through some quick fire questions for you guys. I do this for most of the people that I interview.
Sure.
So you have to answer it as quick as you can, but we'll just go through one by one. Yeah. So unfortunately, Luke, you're going to have to start, so you don't have as much time.
Yeah.
But biggest person who influenced you?
For this website or in general?
Just in general, or anything.
I'm going to cop out and say my brother is actually the biggest inspiration for me. I know
that's
it sounds
a good
cheesy. It sounds
true, James.
But I'm going to be honest, that guy's a hard worker. Gone to Oxbridge, unlucky me. And he's worked hard and he's done so well. And like he's such a good guy. And he's been really supportive of this sort of thing. He's kind of made me sort of well-rounded person that sort of developed me for this. And I'd say him if anything.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I'd say my grandfather. He was like
Yeah.
My grandfather's actually sick though. Like he was a lieutenant general in the army. He always asked me the right question when I'm doing something, like the thing that you haven't thought about, like the thing that you should actually be thinking about. And so definitely my grandfather. If I could be half what he is today, life was sorted.
Well, I mean, he's not really related to this website whatsoever, but Clinton Wedderburn, who was my secondary school basketball coach. What a man. Nine brothers and sisters, and he was an absolute... If you're out there, Clinton, and you hear this, you're a madman. I love you.
Okay, favourite music artist?
Yeah, no. Oh wait, I thought we were going right. Yeah, for me, right now, I chop and change a lot. Right now, I'm liking a lot of Glass Animals. Like, they're sick. I really like them. Like a lot of Kendrick, that sort of thing. But I'd say just sort of chilling out, coding away. I listen to Glass Animals. That's my sort of thing.
I'd say Chance the Rapper. He's my love. Both Christians, you know, with tight. Share everything he does is amazing, and he's a philanthropist, so excellent.
Awesome.
Right now I'm quite high on like Anderson .Paak, J. Cole,
Paak,
Cool Quest,
he's great,
that kind of stuff, and then also a bit more indie stuff like Mac DeMarco, Homeshake, those kind of guys, Jerry Paper.
Awesome. If you could speak to one person, dead or alive?
Let's think.
Could it be my dog?
Huh?
Could it be my dog?
That's really sad.
It is really fucking sad.
That is such a tough one. You know, let's say I'll talk to Bill Gates. Let's go for tech, because that guy dropped out of uni, and he's founded one of the biggest companies in the world right now.
Yeah.
And he's done so well. Maybe I was on, but we'll stick to Microsoft. So yeah, and like the amount of times that I'm like, oh, uni's so long, just like wanted to drop out. But the guy, I want to talk to him, talk about his creative spark and how he did stuff. So probably go for that.
I'd join in that meeting, but I think Socrates, like he was Socrates. So basically, he got judged, and they gave him the option of like living, and he was like, no, I'd rather die than like go against my morals. So he's a legend. He was an intellectual as well. But I'd definitely go to his meeting as well.
Just write down notes, but then go to Socrates.
Don't really know. I mean, I want to say like Jesus of Nazareth, but I don't think I'd understand like, you know, Hebrew or whatever.
No.
So, you know, with a translator, you know.
With a translator, we can throw that in there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just to double check.
Right, quickly, just one word: short or long Bitcoin?
Long.
I don't know.
Yeah, you just go follow the tech guy.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Mate, to be fair, I was tossing up in my head there. I was like, short, long. Okay,
What exactly do you mean by that? Like short return or long return?
So long as you buy and hold, short you sell.
Yeah. Well,
man,
Bitcoin's a bubble, bro.
I would touch Bitcoin with a stick, actually.
Exactly. See.
Yeah, no. Bitcoin.
I was looking online back when Bitcoin was worth nothing, with my friends were like, should we buy some? And I was like, nah, there's no point.
You know, like the more people who get in it, the less it's worth.
Yeah, obviously.
So like,
but I'd hold it on for a
first
while.
mover advantage.
Definitely hold it
exactly.
So like Nikos lost money on Bitcoin.
He
lost money on Bitcoin.
He lost money on loads of different like coins.
Like Ethereum.
Ethereum is so much better than Bitcoin.
Oops.
Alright, next question. So we got audiobook or real book?
Real book.
Real book, definitely.
I do listen to audiobooks when I'm driving, but I do prefer real books.
Cool. Sun or snow?
Ooh, sun.
Snow.
And if you could recommend one book, actually, if you guys have any that you particularly would like to recommend.
Yeah, I've got so.
Have you read it?
No.
Programmer's Guide.
I would actually. Chad's going to disagree on this. He doesn't like the books, but the Game of Thrones series is actually sick.
Cool.
I'd say
if you're interested, something for sure.
First three all.
I'd say Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. That's everything you need to know about life.
And honestly, the biggest mindfuck I've ever had in my life. Who Murdered Roger Ackroyd? Agatha Christie. If you haven't read that book, read that book. Unbelievable.
I don't know. Have you got any things to recommend us? I'm always looking for a new read. Would you
any books? My favourite book from what I've read of all time, just entertainment, is The Wolf of Wall Street. He tells the story.
Crazy.
It's so much more crazy in the book than it is for the movie.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's crazy. So the Wolf of Wall Street, if you want something entertaining and quite explicit, it's a great book. And you realise how much more of a scumbag he is. The movie paints Leo to be all great, and well, maybe not necessarily great, but the book, and he's sort of open to that and knows that it was wrong. But yeah, Wolf of Wall Street's great.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
So just finishing up, do you guys want to add anything in to let the viewers know?
Maybe it would be good to mention for freshers we are running an event in term 1 to help them with looking for houses so basically questions they have what they need to stuff they might need to know something they might want to know,
and they can find the details on your Facebook page.
On our Facebook.
I'll link the Facebook page below.
And if you're a second or third year, drop a review.
Yeah.
So,
it just helps. It makes it better. More accountability, and it's just such a good tool. And the more reviews, the better it's going to become.
And I don't know when you upload this, but if it's before the 24th, you will have a reasonably good chance of winning a £10 Amazon voucher.
Yeah.
Adding photos triples your chance. So
who doesn't want a £10 voucher to then
free money
to buy one of these books? So
there
we go. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so good, man. It's been great.
Thank you.